This is the Hot Six for iGaming Next 2023, where 6 of the newest and brightest brains in the industry come together to answer direct questions from an all-star panel of institutional investors. So expect some great insights, some excitement, and there's a lot riding on this. So my dear friends, please join me in welcoming our super amazing host to the stage for this. She is the CEO of BeyondPlay. Please give it up for Karolina Pelc. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us this late in the day. It's been an eventful agenda, and we are very happy to see so many of you today. As Oystein introduced, this is the Hot Six, returning for yet another time to iGaming Next as finale. Before I introduce the investors, I would like to highlight that this is not a pitch competition. We like to really make it clear. This is a showcase of strength and an amazing opportunity for the companies featured today to tell you what they're up to and how they are being the challenger companies in the industry. Having sat in the Hot Six chair as a founder of BeyondPlay 2 years ago, I can only vouch for the size of the opportunity this presents to each of the participants. For me, I followed my performance with securing one of the investors who sat on one of those chairs as a lead investor in our recent funding round. So I really, really cannot recommend for anyone to get involved in this in the future. Now, without further ado, I'm going to let the panel introduce themselves. Lloyd.
Hey everyone. Lloyd Danzig, managing partner of Sharp Alpha Advisors. We are a venture capital firm that specializes in sports betting and online gaming.
Hi everyone, my name is Benjie Cherniak. My company is Avenue H Capital. I independently invest in startups that are primarily US focused as well as advisory.
Hi, Daniel Bradtke, co-founding partner at Happy Hour. We are a VC that focuses on empowering the next generation of iGaming entrepreneurs by providing capital, network, but also some awesome cheat codes.
Thanks, guys. All right, let's get the party started and welcome to the stage the very first of our participants. Please welcome Seth Schorr, CEO of Jeffabet. Seth is the CEO of a Spanish-language gaming affiliate that is launching its real money casino in Chile and social casino in the USA later this year.
Everybody.
I'll kick things off, I guess. Seth, you've been in the gaming space a while. There's lots of different ways you could spend your time these days. Why the Spanish-speaking audience? Why the Latin America opportunity? What's special about that? Why is that where you're focusing your time and efforts?
Yeah, thank you, Lloyd. Yes, I have been in the business a while. My gray hair is starting to show. It's been about 25 years. As an operator, as an independent operator, I like to focus on niche markets. I like to find areas that are being underserved and that others aren't focused on. For the past 15 years in Las Vegas, I've been catering to the Latino population. And what I found from day one till yesterday is we're the only casino operation to cater to this underserved segment. And that's where this vision started.
So just kind of following up on that point, if you look at a number of the niche markets out there, such as some of the content products that are geared to like women are often by women founders, where in this instance, we're focusing on a community which isn't a community that you don't live and breathe those experiences as a consumer. To what extent was that a concern in starting the company, and how did you work your way around that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And first of all, I want to define niche. So there are 64 million Americans that identify as Latino. So, we're talking about a very, very large segment of the US population. It's a great question. Everything has to be done authentically if we're talking about building a brand that's specifically tailored for a segment. And yes, you're correct, I am not Latino. What I can tell you is I spent the last 15 years working with a community, creating partnerships, having a customer-facing team that comes from within that community. My job as a CEO is to put together a team and give them resources to be successful. That doesn't mean I need to be the face of the company or even the person who is interacting with that end user.
Can I ask you some questions about your team?
Yes.
Can you explain some background on your team and how you got together and why?
Absolutely. It's a great question, and team is everything, right? I think number one, identify an opportunity, have a good idea, but the idea is only worth as much as one's ability to execute it, and execution, in my experience, relies on team. So I think it's important also that I expand the story. So as I mentioned, I have a land-based casino in Las Vegas, 16 years, catering to the Latino population. We decided last year to extend that brand online, which is when we created jefebet.com. At that time, we hired individuals throughout the United States that come from the Latino community and have experience with media and iGaming. We also hired a team of individuals in Latin America, mostly in Argentina, Chile, and Mexico. When we launched our media site last year, we quickly realized while it was intended to communicate with the US Latino audience, we actually found a large portion of the traffic came from Latin America. So our TAM has now expanded from the US to also include LATAM, and we believe we have the team to capitalize on that opportunity because of who they are, their location, and their experience. Furthermore, we got very fortunate in that our lead investor of our latest fundraising round is GreenTube, which has a fantastic experience in iGaming, and they've provided us many of the support services that are needed to successfully and efficiently run a real money operation.
I imagine there are many people in the audience who did not need to be convinced that there's a great opportunity in LATAM, and perhaps if there were when they walked in, they are no longer. Assuming someone wants economic exposure to the LATAM real money gaming experience and to the opportunity and to the Spanish-speaking audience in the US, why are you the best bet? Why should they find you after the show and see what terms on which they can invest?
I'm a pretty likable guy. No, it's a great question. We are uniquely positioned because of our experience catering to the Latino population, having the sophistication of being a Las Vegas operator, having put together a team of people that are in Chile, in Argentina. We have the right team to execute this. What I've seen, there are fantastic operators in Latin America. And let's be clear, just like in Europe, there are different operators based on each jurisdiction in each country. But I do believe there's a void in the market for a brand that is authentically created from within that community, which is what we've done, with a little bit of the sophistication of a Las Vegas operator. And I think we have the right recipe for success. We have the right partners, we have the right investors, and the right team to execute.
So let's dig a bit deeper into the Latin American theme. The chatter these days regarding Latin America focuses on Brazil as a sleeping giant, a lot of momentum there, some pending legislation, and a lot of folks gearing in that arms race towards Brazil. Yet you've chosen to go into, if I'm not mistaken, Peru and Chile. Can you speak to that decision and where your thought process was there? Is Brazil a thought process as well, and how do you see this playing out?
Another great question. Thank you, Benjie. The reason we chose Chile to start, it is pre-regulation. We believe regulation is coming. I am a Nevada licensee, doing things by the book that I'm very comfortable doing as a licensed operator. We believe Chile checked that box, and Peru, legislation is passed and regulations are being worked on, so we will get a license there. Colombia and Mexico are great markets. We feel they're very saturated, and there's some great players there. That doesn't mean I don't want to enter there. I want to enter them once I have a brand and once my team has a little bit behind them. So that's why we've created that sequence. I want to point out one other thing, that this vision started with the US. We are rolling out a US sweeps casino in the fall of this year to go back and make sure we focus on those 64 million Americans and give them a casino experience.
Can I go back to Latin?
Please.
So, Chile, what kind of gaps have you identified on the product side to go into the market? And there's Betano, Coolbet, Betson, who have been doing really well in Chile. And what are the gaps? What is the angle that you're trying to take market share from these players?
Look, I think the opportunity is less around the product. And let's be honest, we know the games are a commodity. Most of these sites use the same games. We believe that the opportunity is in marketing, community, and experience. I don't want to name names, but I think some operators have the exact same branding and marketing they have in Eastern Europe. And they do fine, and nothing wrong with that. I think it works there. There are some great local champions, but we believe our secret sauce is in the brand, marketing, the way we intend to run promotions, and we think that's where we're going to find our success.
I don't know if we're going in order here, but I'm about to jump in.
Please.
So to what extent, you're growing, you've got your brand in the US that you're going to drive into a sweeps opportunity for RMG. Yeah. You've got your emerging brand in Latin America. How do you work those in parallel, given that you have limited resources that are still in startup mode?
Yeah, it's great question. So let me also remind everyone that today we have this media site that is speaking to all Spanish language people that are interested in casino and sports, and we are marketing to them. And when I talk about the brand, why I know the brand's resonating is because our JefeBet brand right now is resonating with people in Peru and Chile, and we are ranking in ways that a site that's a year and a half old, I was shocked that it is, which means there is an opportunity. There aren't casino brands that are speaking to the customers as much as there is in the US. Our platform, our real money platform that we're using in Chile is the same platform that we're using for sweeps, which is critical. If we were on two different platforms and had two different teams, yes, I think that would be biting off a little bit more than we can chew. But we've been able to set up a very efficient team that I just look at it as catering to a wider audience with the same tools and tactics, some nuanced differences in terms of the messaging, but we are doing that today. For the past year and a half, we've been honing in on our skills we have a predictions app, we've been running contests, we've been doing paid search so that we can make sure we can engage users in Chile and also in Texas. And our teams have been successful in doing that.
Seth, we have 27 seconds left.
Oh my God.
I'm going to use that to apologize. I had one job, which is to introduce people and their companies, and I have mispronounced the name of your company. So for everyone here, it's JefeBet, not JefeBet. Clearly, my Spanish skills are not coming through here. Thank you very much for having us here today. Great, well done. And let's welcome the next participant.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, let's welcome to the stage Justin Farrugia, who is the co-founder and CEO of AretoNet, natural language processing powered business intelligence solution for the gaming industry.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
I can kick it off. Thanks for being here. What does it mean, a business intelligence solution for the gaming community? Is it dashboards? Is it daily reports? What is the deliverable that you provide to your clients?
Essentially, BI is identifying, looking at data and discovering data, but from our perspective, it's a bit more than that. So generally speaking, from a BI perspective, you have, your technical specialists at the back building these sorts of reports. And you can have predefined reports, you can have even 200 of them, but truth is that there are always these Q&As that come up in an organization and you need answers to your data. So essentially, you need to get those reports set up. So what we've done from a BI side of things is sort of eliminate that friction, that need to wait for your answers. And that's essentially why we applied natural language to BetIntel.
I read, and you alluded to even backstage, that this began as a customer retention tool and has evolved to where it is today. Why the pivot, and how did that evolution occur, and where to bring us to where we are now?
I wouldn't consider it a pivot, first of all. Since its inception back in mid-2018 when we launched our MVP, our focus was always the data-driven approach. I mean, fundamentally, data is it's the foundation of every decision, right? So when we launched our retention and engagement tool, we put a lot of effort in data. And throughout the years, we got lots of feedback, kept adding lots of functionality and features to it, predictive modeling, slicing and dicing, this sort of thing. And we were successful in that core component, so we decided to extract that into an entire separate product. Obviously, we're still full on board with our CRM, keep pumping that functionality there, but I think they go hand in hand. And it's an opportunity both for us, our clients, and potential partners to utilize that specific core component of our tool on third-party platforms. It could be another CRM.
What was the process for you to develop the software over these past years? Was it the feedback that you also had from various sources? Where did you validate your product development process?
So, initially an idea starts off with a basic idea, but I think we must have had countless product walkthroughs and essentially not just obviously to sell the product, but also to get the feedback. And I think the best feedback we've had is, besides from clients, clearly, it's also from operators as well, and not just experienced operators. Mind me, I think some of our most valuable feedback came from US operators. And the reason probably is that while European operators have the experience, they're accustomed to a certain way of adopting certain processes and so forth. While that is definitely a benefit, you still have the US operators who have been back then when we entered US small, but we started talking to US operators. They were kind of new to the process, so they came with a fresh mind. Although they had the experience and perhaps imported resources from Europe, their pain points were quite new. So they wouldn't be accustomed to this sort of standard practices, so to speak. And I think the feedback we received from those operators were more valuable. That's basically it.
To the extent that you can disclose any numbers or ranges of numbers, what can I expect as an operator for becoming a client in terms of increase in time on app, increase of revenue per user, decrease in churn, whatever it is that you guys optimize for?
From a CRM perspective, our existing clients reported various KPI increases, particularly from a data perspective. This is why data is important. Even within the first 2 to 3 months, our QA operators reported a 10 to 15% decrease in bonus costs, for example. Without the appropriate data, you can't really understand who are your, I wouldn't call them bonus abusers, but you don't look at, if your bonus to deposit ratio isn't clearly visible and clearly legible and grouped into predefined clusters, for example, it's very difficult to tell. And traditionally, like a 25% increase in FTDs, first-time depositors, which is something standard if you improve a little bit your retention strategy. And from a reactivation standpoint, we've done pretty well as well. I guess depending on the operator, but it can range anywhere between 25 to 50%. Maybe smaller operators who before didn't very basic stuff, and today they have some automation stuff in place, so that obviously helped a lot. But I think those are the 3 top KPIs that perhaps we could share.
There's companies that provide, that are perhaps that are more industry agnostic, that would compete with what you're doing. Are there any competitors in our space, and what to you are your USPs that differentiate your business?
Yeah, well, we are gambling specific, right? Myself and also my co-founder come from a gambling background, and again, we are of the opinion that gambling-specific products, when they're tailored for gambling, bring benefits, right? And that was the basis of the product. Even if you look at, just from a regulatory standpoint, I think as a product provider, we have to shoulder some responsibility and not just leave it up to the operators. Something like, self-exclusion, school-offs, this sort of thing. We have it inbuilt in our system. So if a customer, is running a cool-off period for 30 days or self-excluded, we need to make sure that marketing emails, bonuses are not granted to our automation system, and that's inbuilt within our system. Then besides that, have predefined clusters. We have all industry standard KPIs already in place, segments already in place. Triggers like sportsbook consecutive losses, campaigns, templates already predefined. So all this comes out of the box. And besides, there are also certain features, like a few that I mentioned, that can't possibly be available in more generic CRM, so to speak. And I think, that's I think it's quite a solid, quite a solid point for operators, whether small size or not. I think it brings value. And besides, I think also another important point to consider is that since we're gambling specific, anything we build is specifically for the industry. We don't try and generalize our functionality to adopt to the finance or retail sector, all this kind of stuff. So if we put in, 10 man-hours of work, everybody else has to put in, 100 hours of work to get anywhere close to what we do, because we're very specific. And there are other products out there focused on the industry, maybe a couple of them. Others perhaps tackle, a few variety of industries, and they're good products as well, but I think ultimately it also boils down to user preference as well and opinion.
In terms of commercial sort of total addressable market size, how do you define that in your segment?
Well, the CRM is quite tough, right? There are so many options out there, and if you look at some products that have been out there for more than a decade, they're pretty much available as readily integrated everywhere. You're not going to have, a BetMGM drop whatever they're using to come to us, clearly. And I think this is one of the reasons why we launched BetIntel. First of all, its uniqueness, right? There isn't something like that tailored for the industry that can help all business users understand their data. And also from a perspective that it also helps our existing customers, and it compensates also existing products. So it's not like we're deviating from what we're doing or anything, but I think it was the most obvious way to go.
There was a second part to Benjie's question that I thought was a great one. I was curious about. Seems quite plausible to me that a gaming-specific application makes more sense than an industry-agnostic one. Are there other competitors that you find yourself going up against, other gambling industry-specific audience segmentation, churn optimization platforms, and how do you see yourself differentiating? How do you win clients compared to others that might be pitching a similar but perhaps slightly different offering?
I think it also boils down to what Daniel asked before, I guess. I mean, the market is somewhat saturated in this field, and while we launched BetIntel, I guess one of the reasons was also to complement other CRMs as well. So essentially, our tool can be integrated easily with, even third-party CRMs, just to enhance or power up their CRM and expose certain data that's it's not that easy to get through reports. I mean, there are countless scenarios, right? Even if you want to create, a specific segment, you're either going to go to your BI team to create that, or you're going to ask the question, get it, then you can build a report, create a segment, publish it in real time to another CRM, and get going. I mean, and BetIntel in itself opens up also other market opportunities, where before, from our CRM perspective, operators were the most obvious choice as a potential market. BetIntel is also suitable for platform providers, affiliate systems, CRMs. Essentially, if your product has data, then this is a potential application of the product.
Hey guys, I'm gonna stop you right here. We have 30 seconds left, so just enough time to thank you very much for sitting on this panel and telling us all about your company. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Justin Farrugia, CEO of AretoNet.
Thank you very much, guys.
And we're ready for the next participant, and I'm super happy to introduce a good friend of mine, Nicola Longmuir, who is the CEO of AvatarUX. AvatarUX is a leading game studio that produces unique, award-winning online slots.
I'll lead off. So maybe just out of the gate, tell us what makes your games unique, different, and how it differentiates from the plethora of opportunities and games that are out there currently in the market.
Sure. We have an amazing kind of setup as a boutique game studio. It's all about quality over quantity. So our games have unique game mechanics, which are fundamental to the portfolio, which we produce and we have trademarked actually, and those mechanics are what drives us forward and provides a unique experience for our players. It makes the games exciting, it retains players, and allows people to continuously come back to a recognizable mechanic and brand.
Following up on that, perhaps, if I'm an investor and I'm demoing a game from a game studio, how do I differentiate a good game from a great game? What are some of those game mechanics? What should I look for to distinguish the best from the average?
Well, aesthetically as well, you're looking for really great quality. You're looking for quality in the animation and the art. You're also looking at what's attractive to players, because there is such a plethora of content out in the market at the moment. It's hard, to be a boutique studio in the industry. So it's absolutely key to make sure that you differentiate yourself. And we do that through quality. As I say, we're not commodity-based gaming. We're not producing hundreds of slot content, but we're producing really high-quality content. And there are others in the market, but there's different ways of being able to innovate within the game mechanic, within the math, that actually really, once players come in, because if your games are positioned correctly, even if you have a bad game, the game will be played because they're positioned correctly. But in order to retain that positioning, you have to have really, really great, strong math and good quality. And having a mechanic there that we know retains players and brings players back, and then continuously innovating on that as well, is something that we're doing on a very consistent basis, so that we bring players in and they can play our games and they see that the next iteration has added new features. We have added a new spin. So we're consistently innovating on the core product, which for us is pop wins, and we're adding additional mechanics which are recognizable but add something new, so that it's something that players keep coming back to, and they say, it's really about the next new offering from us, and players continuously come back to play that. So that's really how we differentiate ourselves in the market. We don't, everything we offer is unique, so we're not reskinning content. There's a lot of commodity-based gaming out there, and that is a model, and that's a model that works, but it's something that as a small team, we're constantly looking to provide something new and unique in the market.
Can you explain the process, how you achieve that? Sort of what goes into your product development process? What are the influential parts that you are using in creating those quality games that you're aspiring to?
So if we knew the magic formula of how it all fit together, then I think all game studios out there are looking for that magic formula. It doesn't exist, or if it does, we haven't found what the magic formula is to replicate it time and time again. But what we do is we very much learn from the previous iterations of our games, and we're looking at what's been out in the market, what's been successful, and then we learn from that. We have a huge influence in the player communities as well. So we're, we use streamers, and we work with streamers who showcase our content, and we work with the communities there. We take the feedback, and then we constantly go through a product feedback loop. We also work with the operators who, at first are much closer to the players, and it's all about kind of, providing the players with exactly what they want, and that's what we're trying to do all the time. But in terms of the actual kind of operation, we have, we're constantly looking at when we come up with concepts for them to be marketable, very marketable concepts. So we're looking at the themes, we're looking at the mechanics, we're also looking at what is the most compelling math models. And then also when we're building the games, we're looking at being able to get the best return on investment, within the production. And so we're constantly looking at the art and animation, and where we can kind of scale things and actually, you learn from our previous iterations as well. So we don't make the same mistakes twice, and therefore, ultimately, it's a cheaper process all round.
No, go ahead, Benjie.
You spoke briefly in regards to working and partnering with operators. I want to double down on the operators piece for a moment. That, when you do a partnership with an operator and you bring your product to them and they're going to bring it on board, it's going to sit alongside their existing portfolio of games. And how do you work with those operators to ensure that you have the appropriate shelf space and that it's presented in a way in which you won't just get lost in the shuffle?
It's a tough one. It's a challenge for sure, because there are so many studios in the market. But again, the product is what differentiates us. We also have a heritage of distribution already in the European market, so we can take that data and show the data from our experiences and with the success of the content in various markets. So if we're entering a new market, or if we're focusing on the US, for example, in North America, which we are currently, that's what we're focusing on going forward. We can take our experience from the European regulated markets, we can show the content that works well there, and we can show that actually, you know, by the correct positioning, that the games will perform in the markets that we're entering. So there's lots of different ways that we can do that, and by showcasing the products. But, you know, we want to continuously remain relevant. We want to be on the front page. We want our games to be front and center. And that's where we're constantly working from a relationship point of view. So with our existing partners to make sure that, you know, we are promoting the content, marketing. So we have a commercial team in-house that deals directly with the operators to try and push the games as much as possible. You know, we're in you know, a mature market in Europe where, you know, you kind of, you know, you have to pay to be on the front page these days. You have to give discounts. We need to look at our commercial models to actually remain there and remain relevant. The main thing, though, that we do see is that you have to offer discounts less if you have a good product. Nicola? And that's what we aim to go down that route, rather than kind of being part of that kind of bargaining tool for reductions in rev share.
I wanted to ask you a question because we are talking quite often, and I know there is specifically something that you are proud of in terms of your US journey. You know, for content studios, the US is this holy grail, but at the same time, it's so difficult and expensive to enter. What has happened with AvatarUX? What's different about your journey?
So we made a very strategic decision when I first started with Avatar as a CEO to look at a strategic partnership to allow us to enter into the US market. I've had some experience of how expensive, lengthy, intrusive it is to go through the regulation, the full, you know, for licensing for the US, and then obviously you have to continue to do that state by state by state. So we've partnered with a global distributor as under a program which has a handful of established or fairly established studios in the market who they will take to the US and North America. So it's been a really valuable relationship to allow us to enter into that market. We're not quite there yet. We're very, very, very close. We're launching actually at the end of the month in the UK and Europe with our new partner, and then towards hopefully before the end of the year we'll be live at least in Michigan first, and also in the Canadian market. So that's allowed us to kind of get a foothold in the market early, which I think is really key for you know, at my previous role, there was a long journey to get to the North American market, which is kind of still to come to fruition. So I know how difficult it is firsthand to actually, you know, do that under your own steam by integrating directly with all the operators. And the advantage that gives us is with the global distributor that we're partnering with, they already have established relationships with the big four, with BetMGM, with Caesars, DraftKings, etc. So it allows us to have a platform there to showcase our content, which is a really invaluable asset for us.
Okay. Sorry, I bumped in with a question. We have 30 seconds left now, but thank you very much, Nicola, for telling us your story. And we're going to welcome the next participant to the stage. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
So guys, I know that the drinks upstairs are tempting and the sunshine, but we are halfway through. Please stay with us. We still have financial services, metaverse experiences, and data science companies in front of us. So the next participant on the stage will be Andrew Jurgielan, Group Commercial Executive from One. One is a provider of financial services across both digital assets and fiat currencies, helping businesses move money globally.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the stage.
Andrew, help us take that intro and make it a bit more concrete. What are the specific value props or use cases to which you guys apply your technology to operators and others in the real money gaming space?
Yeah, good question. So I think the easiest way to understand the business is, broadly speaking, there are kind of two main product lines. We have One Trading, which is our over-the-counter wholesale crypto trading desk, doing crypto to fiat, fiat to crypto, and crypto to crypto for high net worths and corporate businesses worldwide. We've also got our global payments and banking platform, One Payments, so FCA regulated and licensed, and we issue corporate accounts, so IBANs in multiple different currencies, connected to a range of payment rails, so SWIFT, SEPA, Instant SEPA, faster payments, and allow our customers to do FX in about 17 different currencies as well. And really, it's about kind of identifying a pain point in the industry, and that was really the movement of money, especially something which is often taken for granted, but is a special pain point for merchants in what are considered to be traditionally higher risk sectors, so the crypto industry, blockchain businesses, gaming and gambling, complex and offshore structures. Anyone that plays within that space knows firsthand the difficulty of getting access to affordable banking and the actual ability to move money, whether that be to pay your suppliers, pay your operators, pay your affiliates, and receive funds too. So we identified that as a real kind of gap and need in the market, and we developed a product to solve it.
Tell us a little bit about your thesis here, because you allude to you offer the financial piece, but you also offer the crypto trading piece and the intersection between the two. What is your thesis as it pertains to gaming and where it's headed that leads into the belief that this is where the need is going to be moving forward?
Yeah, and it's a brilliant question. And in fact, the payments banking piece came after the crypto trading piece and because of the pain points identified. So our background was as a crypto trading desk. Most of our merchants, or many of the merchants, dealt with cryptocurrency. Either they were an operator that operated a crypto-based sportsbook or casino, or they took payment from PSPs in crypto. Right now, it's still quite hard to run a business in crypto. You can't pay your staff, you can't pay your vendors, you can't move money and pay dividends within a group. So we would do the off-ramping for them, typically converted to fiat, and we'd say, okay, well, where would you like us to send the funds? And therein lied the problem. Either they didn't actually have a bank account that could receive the funds, or the bank accounts that they had where they would take the fiat would then get closed because it was connected with crypto and made them especially high risk already being in the gaming sector. So we decided to develop a solution to cater to that need by developing our own payments banking platform. Now a typical flow of funds for someone in the iGaming space is they will accrue cryptocurrency, either they take payment from their PSP or they have a store of cryptocurrency, net deposits, for example. They will liquidate into fiat through our trading proposition. They will then settle the fiat into their one payments account. From there, the connection with crypto is broken. They've now got fiat in accounts in their name, connected to all the major payment rails from which they can pay their suppliers in fiat or move money within the group or remit dividends to their investors.
You solved some great pain points, as you said, for the operating space in the gaming industry. Where do you see your business model scaling beyond the current services you're offering, and what's the growth estimates there?
Where do I start? It's a great question. So the payments banking infrastructure that we've developed really kind of underpins everything we do. That's the biggest need that we've solved and continue to solve. And from there, it's about kind of building on top of that. So what do I mean by that? We're looking to kind of expand internationally at the moment. So currently we're licensed in the UK, as I mentioned, and in Switzerland. We have crypto licenses in Jersey, Lithuania, and Switzerland as well. But we're looking to expand internationally. We're looking at setting up local offices with local banking partners and licenses in Australia, Singapore, Canada, the Middle East, and really about kind of developing that global money movement ecosystem. On top of that, we're also developing a whole bunch of new products as well. So we're augmenting from a product perspective. So we're moving away from just doing trading and just providing payments and banking. We're developing a hosted wallet, which is going to be a B2B2C product and allow kind of operators to receive deposits from their players in a much more kind of straightforward way. We're developing a crypto gateway solution, so a processing product for merchants that know that they need to start accepting crypto as part of their business, but don't actually want to hold the crypto themselves. We've identified LATAM as a huge opportunity for us, so we're launching a PIC solution to cater to the Brazilian market. FX is something which businesses globally, not just in the iGaming sector, are doing more and more and more of. We're launching what we're calling our real-time FX platform next month, which is going to kind of revolutionize the way that businesses exchange fiat from one currency to another. And that's all enabled by having kind of developed and invested in that underlying payment and banking infrastructure, which we've done.
Help us understand the business model on the banking side. You guys are not a bank yourselves. You set up bank accounts. Who pays for that? Do you add fees to the existing banking fees and pass those on to your corporate customers? Or do you get a piece, a la sort of an affiliate model from the banks with whom you are setting up new accounts?
It's a good question. So obviously we pay fees with the banks, but we run our commercials with our customers entirely separate from that. We probably do something which is a little bit innovative and different in the industry. Most of our merchants have complained for too long about EMIs that charge a percentage of value in and value out. And if you're transacting either large volumes or large value, those costs can add up pretty quickly. We do something a little bit different at One. We charge what we call an annual membership fee, which is an annual fee and a cost to kind of join the network. Once you join the One network, that's basically it. You get access to the trading desk at no cost. You get access to as many IBANs and as many currencies as you want. And by doing it or structuring things that way, we're trying to basically build a network, have a very, very attractive commercial model, which means we don't just get the single entity, we get every entity within the group. We don't just get the supplier, we get their operators because they benefit from sending funds within the One ecosystem, which is an intrabank transfer. It's a ledger movement, it's free, it's fast, it's seamless. So our idea is to make our banking and payments product so attractive that it's a no-brainer to sign up. And from there, once you've won the customer, you can make money on things like FX, you can make money on things like the crypto exchange, and you build out from there.
Talk to me a bit about the regulatory framework. And I'm a bit naive, admittedly, when it comes to this, but I know that in the US, what you're looking to do would be problematic in a whole slew of states. And I also noticed that when you talked about your expansion plans, you left out the US. So talk to me a bit about how you view the regulatory process as you consider expansion.
It's a great question. I think, obviously, regulation is probably one of the biggest challenges for our business, but it's also the opportunity because, you know, the fact of the matter is it takes a very long time to get licensed, both on the payment side and the trading side of the business. So we keep those licenses and those entities entirely separate from one another. It takes a lot of time to get a license. It costs a lot of money in terms of regulatory capital requirements to get a license. It costs an enormous amount to maintain a license in terms of having the compliance frameworks in place to continue to comply with the license. But we also kind of see that as our opportunity. We're ahead of the game as far as the acquisition of our licenses. And that means that it's not so easy for a lot of competitors to come into the space because it is so difficult to get licensed in the first place.
You mentioned licenses. Just to clarify, what sort of banking, iGaming, or other types of licenses do you guys need to operate the business in this fashion?
Yeah, good question. So on the payment side, as you mentioned, we're not a bank, we're a payment institution. So we have a license that basically allows us to move money. Obviously, we partner with banks and we integrate with banks within our platform. So our customers, when they sign up to One, they get real bank accounts, real IBANs in their name that are safeguarded and kept separate from our operational funds. But our license basically allows us to operate that service. On the crypto side, we have licenses which allow us to exchange crypto to fiat and crypto to crypto and provide a trading service and also custody crypto on behalf of our customers.
Do you need any sort of gaming supplier license or that does not interfere?
No, it doesn't. It's, as I said, we're a financial service provider. We just happen to have risk appetite for the gaming sector where a lot of others don't. But we work with businesses, we work with pioneering businesses. It's not gaming specific, so we work a lot with blockchain pioneering businesses. We work a lot with offshore structures. We work a lot with service providers to the gaming sector that don't need to be regulated in their own right, but maybe their customers are in the gaming sector. And again, that brings it back to that problem of moving money between parties. So we kind of operate on the basis of a list of excluded jurisdictions rather than kind of who we service. We just so happen to be the case that gaming has a real need for reliable payments and banking.
I see there's only 45 seconds left here.
That's my job.
What will the price of Bitcoin be at the end of the year?
No comment.
Right, okay, 37 minutes. I think I wanted to ask about how you counter the perception, because I imagine when you go to investors and you say we are a financial company that moves crypto globally in the gambling industry, it's probably challenging, but we don't have time to, unless you can answer in 25 seconds.
Give me a shot. So fortunately, most of our investors have actually been customers of ours, which has been brilliant. It's you know, an attestation of the business, where we're heading. They've wanted a piece. Not only does it make their lives easier in terms of the money movement, but they also see the vision and see where we're going, and they see that we're really trying to solve a problem in the industry.
Makes it easier. On point, 1 second to go. Well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have our fifth participant now. Welcome to the stage, Claudia Heiling, co-founder and CEO of Golden Whale Production. Golden Whale Production is a data science company that specializes in machine learning infrastructure for the gaming industry.
You can lead off, Daniel.
Start, yeah. tell us about the business model. What is it you're offering, and what is the value that customers of yours gain from working with Golden Whale?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. Well, we are, as Karolina just said, the data science company focusing on delivering machine learning as fast and easy and trustworthy as possible to our clients. So our clients are operators in the first place, but also game providers and platform providers, because essentially data science and machine learning, I mean, I saw the packed room on the AI panel. It's a hot topic, but also a technology that we really think is going to stay. Our team consists of industry veterans, you could say, highly experienced people from the gaming space. We have data scientists with lots of years of experience in the team. We are the core founding and the core team of GreenTube, essentially. So we have Eberhard Duschmidt as our CEO. We have the former CTO, Thomas Kolbabik, on the team. He's again CTO at our company, Golden Whale Productions, and the former lead architect at GreenTube as well. So, and we used to, you know, I was there in the very early days at GreenTube as well, and we put a lot of effort in scaling technology and scaling gaming platforms, and that's what we thought after leaving GreenTube at different times. We just really still stayed in touch and wanted to get back to what we do best, which essentially is scaling technology. And with machine learning and AI on the rise, we figured that's the next thing, and we're going to address that. And to also answer your question, what do our customers get? It's machine learning infrastructure building blocks, you could say, that form an integral part of your system or the system landscape that you have already in place. We take any kind of data that an operator or any partner would like to share with us, and we take this data, and the first step always is get it into a shape that it can then actually be used for machine learning, right? That's the essential part that we see missing in a lot of places. And then once that's done, based on that data model, machine learning use cases such as early VIP detection or churn prediction or value segmentation are being built, and most essentially being fed back to the systems in real time. And especially the real-time part is what we started off with, and a system we call loops, which is essentially a real-time loop where you where you also take into account the changes that have been made to the product, right?
So help me narrow this down from abstract to specifics. If I'm an operator, am I coming to you and saying, I've got pain points in A, B, C, and D, or are you help me solve that? Or am I coming to you saying, let me know where my pain points are, or where are you coming in?
It depends. It's a good question, and we have the whole range, basically. We usually run a POC, you know, to understand the operator's needs, and we agree together on the questions that we want to be answered. It can be, tell me the unknown unknowns. You know, here's our data, tell us what we don't know yet. Or also to very specific questions like our GGR has been dropping over the last 6 months. Why is that? You know, we can't figure it out. Things like that. So very specific. Obviously, churn prediction and early VIP detection is something really important as well. And it's really up to the operator's needs. Yeah, we focus on, we come in with our experience from having B2C and B2B operations back in our days, and really doing integration. Yeah, we've done integrations into basically all directions. So that's the experience we have in the team, and we add that when figuring out what questions to be answered.
Building on Benjie's theme of kind of making things just a bit more concrete for the audience here, help us understand how this works. Are you ingesting real-time player or log level data each day and allowing operators to make API calls to decide what promotions to serve? Are you providing dashboards that a strategy manager might use to make higher level decisions? Are they integrating your modules and the entire tech runs on their platform in an automated fashion? What does the actual technical workflow look like?
Okay, yeah. So the process is quite, or what our approach is quite simple. We take whatever is there. Yeah. So it could be Excel files, you know, or a stream, or via an API. Some of our partners even give us access to the database to specific views. We don't want any personal data, of course, you know. We adapt to what's there and feed it back in real time or on a daily basis or whatever, whatever is there to be served on the other side, so to speak. Mm-hmm.
Do you have any strategic partnerships that you have set up in this journey of yours? Are you working with?
Yeah. Yes. Well, maybe also it's kind of connected to, because I forgot to answer that part about we don't so much provide dashboards, or we're not providing another tool. It's more really a platform and as an infrastructure part. So it really connects to the IT landscape that you already have. And we are, from our background, you know, really technology scaling people, and we want to focus on that. So we're not so much a dashboard building company, and what you get back from us is our recommendations, predictions on what user A or B or C would like to see or have or get in the next as a next step. And that's why we also work with strategic partners to sort of close the whole circle, you know. So we connect to existing CRM systems, we connect to platforms. We, for example, also are working on a prototype that can be quite scaled quite easily with flows, you know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, yeah.
How do you view the sales process? And what I mean by that is, if I'm an operator, I don't know what I don't know, and maybe I have a specific pain point I bring you in for, but maybe I don't. And if I don't, you know, what is the sales process in terms of getting, you know, I have a number of other deliverables that I'm working on. Where am I going to dedicate my headspace to identify problems that I don't know that I have?
Well, usually we talk to on a C-level, because there the pain points are the most obvious, and some of our partners see us, you know, even if there is an existing data science team in place, we like to see us, and they also see us as an extended workbench, so to speak, you know, like there are just so many problems to be tackled, you know, and internal teams are most often focused on solving regulatory issues. So we come in and we just talk to and see where there is a gap, you know, how can we be of use, because essentially that's we have to provide value, and if that's not the case, nobody would need us, right? Yeah, so.
I also had a brief question on the sales process. Do you typically talk to operators first, and then the operators tell their CRM or platform provider that they need to integrate with you and make things all work cohesively? Do you sometimes go to the platforms or the CRM companies first, and then they sell you into their clients, or is it a little bit of both, perhaps?
It's a little bit of both, actually. We just started to talk to the network that we have and reach out to as many people as possible, and it's essentially both, you know.
Okay, we've got time for one more question and one more fast answer.
Okay, maybe coming back to add to that, there's a concept that we call sensor games as well. So we're not only talking to operators and platform suppliers, but also to game developers, because essentially every game can be a sensor, can act as a sensor game, and we really try to dig deep holes into that matter as well, where then game providers get more information about their own games, which then makes their games more valuable when offering them to the platform providers, to the operators, yeah.
Okay, perfect. That leaves us with 16 seconds. Thank you very much, Claudia, for being with us today.
Thank you.
And we welcome
Thank you. Thanks.
another participant. 30 seconds. 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 30 Okay, so next up we've got Daniel Gunba, and I have again not done my homework on the pronunciation of the company name. I did check the surnames with people, not the company names, but I believe it's TRIIONFT, is it?
TRIIONFT.
All right. An AI-powered body tracking company that transforms traditional live dealer casino games into immersive metaverse experiences. That sounds super exciting.
Definitely, definitely. So, yeah.
Let's start with the basic question and tell us kind of what you do, what the vision is, and just for audience's benefit.
Yeah, so we have basically two products, and one of them is the metaverse and the whole environment where we're developing the logic for the casino games like blackjack, roulette, etc. And the second product is our own AI technology, which we're using for the body tracking. So we can track the human's body without any gadgets, no VR headsets, no sensors. The metaverse and the body tracking are connected. So like that, we can bring the live dealers into the metaverse. There is 0-second latency and pinpoint accuracy in the tracking.
So I understand you take as input a video feed from a live dealer studio. You use computer vision and pose estimation, I guess, to track exactly where a live dealer is and what they're doing, and you recreate sort of a digital simulacra in the metaverse and allow someone to play in an immersive casino. Why not have an entirely simulated metaverse casino with a generative AI-produced avatar? What is the value that you've seen in your conversations about having that digital avatar mapped directly onto a live dealer that exists in some studio as opposed to perhaps being purely AI-generated?
It's a very good question. I really believe that human factor is a necessary part of the live casino in general. Why players prefer live casino to pre-automated animations? Because there is the real human with whom you can interact, who can comment the game. And today, live casinos is not only about commenting the game, right? It's about the communication, about any different topics. So I believe that AI don't need to replace humans. It needs to help humans to enter the Web3. And this is what we decided to do in our project. So I believe that we have an example with pre-automated solutions like Decentraland. They have the pre-animated avatars. And to me, it's boring. There's much more fun to play traditional Web2 live casino. If I can have an experience which is 100% proven that it's a real human in the metaverse, this is something new. So yeah, humans should be in the metaverse.
Have you done any sort of estimations as to how much that market could be in terms of live casino, metaverse, game experience, or sort of what has been crucial for you to actually develop this in the first place?
So as a public numbers, we can take as an example Decentraland again, and the revenue of Decentraland in 4 months was approximately 32 million. And this is people who are into gambling and people who like Web3 in general. So our vision is to have 3 different type of players, which is basically three different type of incomes. First one is those people who are already playing live casinos, so they will be just interested to try something new. Second layer of people, players who play the video games, because metaverse itself, it's a video game as well, where you can bring a lot of entertainment and much more interactive. And people who are into video games, they will definitely join to try, because we are providing to them as well the option to interact with the VR. So, and the third layer, Web3 people in general, who are interested in metaverse, in new opportunities.
So just following up on that, I understand that you're kind of like almost expanding the TAM in terms of helping operators potentially bring in a new audience that doesn't already exist within their platform. How do you see that intermixing with their existing Web2 experience? Do you see it as something that should be ultimately replacing as such or living alongside it?
It's not something what should replace traditional Web2 experience, definitely, because it's 2 different type of experiences. So there definitely will be still people who will prefer more the traditional way of playing the live casinos. This is just something new which will bring more value into the industry and more opportunities for developers and as well the operators. So it should work together, I believe. And I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if after some time they're going to be like mixed reality, metaverse, and real life. So kind of Web 2/Web 3, something like that.
So, building on almost exactly that point, I understand that the dealers in the metaverse casino are, again, perfect simulacras, digital copies of a real-life person. What about the users and other users? Am I turning the camera on in my computer and you're creating an avatar of me? Is it a little bit more video game animation-like, and I'm watching other people kind of navigate with a joystick or the keys on their keyboard? Am I even interacting with the other users in the metaverse at the same time? What is the user experience and way of displaying other users?
So we wanted to keep the traditional experience and more innovative, I would say. So basically, there are two ways how to explore the metaverse. The first one, as I said, traditional, the keyboard and mouse. And the good part of it, for those who are not into VR and technologies, they can join the table and they will have the user interface around the game, which they already saw a lot of times before. So it's going to be very intuitive for them. At the same time, we provide the opportunity to explore it with the VR. Then it's going to be the first view, and people can join with the joysticks and VR. The avatars which we're creating, they're mainly for the live dealers, not for the players. For the players, they will be able to pick the avatar, like in any other game, and of course, customizations on top, so they will be able to customize it.
So as an investor, if I wanted to make an investment, I have no shortage of decks that I receive that are Web3 and that are alluding to the metaverse and iCasino. And, if what is the differentiator? What would make your product differentiated from some of the other products that I'm seeing in the space?
It's the only one product which provides real humans in the metaverse. There is no even similar solutions on the market. We were investigating a lot to understand maybe there are some companies which are on the way to that, but the AI technology itself, it's unique. Now, if we speak about what will make you as an investor to invest, there is no other options to live casinos to join the metaverse, right? So other option can be VR. I'm not sure that VR and all the gadgets is something what live casinos looking for. They want to have plug and play. The new dealer sitting in front of the camera, the game is on. So no similar projects, unique technologies, because of course AI is as well trendy technology today, and we are following those trends. And of course, because of I have a background with iGaming, so the goal is to meet all their needs in one place. Even if we speak about the payments, dealers, games, studios, we don't want them to think like now it's happening. Shall we join this metaverse or that metaverse? No, you can get all your tools in one place and operate as you usually operate, but in the new environment.
What I like about this is also, from the live streaming, business, I think Karolina and we both are sort of invested in that. The avatar, the technology that you have, can possibly also be used to have avatar streamers. So, there's a scalability. Have you also explored that space a bit? Is that relevant? Have you come across that in some shape or form?
Definitely. With the avatar, I would say it's another way, it's another part of our business, basically, the avatars. First of all, we are trying to create them as realistic as possible by using the photogrammetry technology. At the same time, just to give an example, if you have Brazilian market and you're operating from Malta, we can create Brazilian avatars, and Maltese dealers, they will look like Brazilians for the Brazilian market. So it's the way how we can optimize the design for different areas and different countries where casinos want to operate. But of course, on top we have a big commercial platform for some extra extra income, like customization of the avatars, even for the players, branding, a lot, like cards. That's the beauty of the metaverse. We can customize anything.
Can I ask you a question? Whether the cards that the dealer is dealing in studio, are they also match for match represented in the metaverse using technology, or is there a separate RNG mechanism that deals different cards?
Yes. So basically, through the camera, in the casino, the AI is at the same time is tracking the values of the cards. It works the same for the roulette. It's tracking where the ball falls. So we are streaming the results into the metaverse.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, 30 seconds. Anybody fast enough to ask the last question?
Very quick. What's the core revenue model? Do you get a percentage of net gaming revenue from operator clients? Is it a SaaS fee?
Yeah, so the idea is that we're going to let live casinos to rent the studios and extend it with the more tables and games.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answers. Thank you very much to the audience. This was the very last of our participants today. Thanks to the experts.
Thank you.
I guess that's a wrap.